All right, Chris, thank you so much for meeting with us. I was wondering, what could you tell me about this wagon here and how Mercer acquired it?
Conestoga wagon, what is interesting about it, it's basically today's semi-truck. You'll notice there is no seat. The driver either would have been on one of the animals pulling it or off to a seat on the side. So it would have been packed with goods. I believe this one came from somewhere in Virginia. It's not the wagon that you see out west. So it comes from the Conestoga River Valley, and it was primarily hauling raw materials or finished goods to and from the hinterland into the cities, primarily between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. When the Conestoga wagon drivers came down, they would go down to Virginia and they would haul tobacco up to Philadelphia. Philadelphia was a big manufacturer of cigars. So they would take the tobacco to Philadelphia and then they would take finished goods back to the hinterland. When the Virginia farmer saw the Conestoga wagons coming, he said, "Here come the stogies." That's how we get the cigar term, stogie. So the Conestoga wagon is one of the bigger pieces that we have and more popular pieces. You can see it on the ground floor.
So, what can you really tell me about this carriage? And I would assume Mercer acquired it the same way he did the Conestoga wagon through Network, but what could you tell me about it?
This one came specifically from Massachusetts. This is a chaise carriage, I call it a chaise, and this was really the Cadillac or the Lexus of its time. It's suspended on leather straps and it has springs in it, so it makes it a very comfortable ride, and one single horse could pull you around.
Now we move on to the fire engine, as it so says on the white nameplate up there. How did Mercer get a hold of this? I would imagine this was long before the fire companies were holding on to different pieces of their past.
Henry started collecting in 1897. So if you think about the fire truck was very popular from 1820s to right around the turn of the century. This fire truck was originally made in 1847. It was for the Trenton Fire Company. And then it passed hands through a number of different fire companies, one in New Hope, one in Langhorne. And then Henry acquires it right about the time when these are going away. This was known as a Philadelphia fire engine, which had two handbrakes on each side. It was pushed by men.
Obviously, it's had wear and tear. Is this all the original paint that's on it, or has this been repainted?
This is not. Some of the pieces in here have been repainted, and this is the state that he acquired it in.
I know what this is. It is commonly seen in the Wild Western movies. What can you tell me about this stagecoach, how it was acquired?
Acquisition, I am unsure on that. What I can tell you is the stagecoach would have had its high point from 1830 to 1850, and the end of the stagecoach out here would have been because of the railroad. Right? Think of Pennsylvania industrialization, the railroad comes to mind.
Is this one also with original paint?
To my understanding, yes.
Oh, wow. So he was really kind of a collector of all different sorts of, transport. I see this, the
Right.
carriage, the fire engine, the bicycles up there.
He defines a tool by anything that makes your life easier. That's a very broad definition, right? That's why you see chairs on the ceiling. Obviously, a stagecoach, Conestoga wagon, a chaise carriage, making life easier to get from places to places.
Why did he really want to preserve all this? Like, was it just as a need to want to preserve the past before it's all gone?
So in 1897, the story goes that he was looking for a pair of fireplace tongs. He goes to a junk dealer here in Doylestown, and he sees all of these handcrafted colonial tools that are selling for pennies. And he knows what's going to happen. He was an archaeologist. They'll end up in the ground. So that's what he's doing. He's preserving all of these tools so as a curator he can show how people lived in the 18th and 19th century. Professional historians were telling stories about presidents, generals, wealthy people, and they're using documents to tell that history. He's actually using artifacts of everyday life. And these are the stories of everyday people, working class artisans, farmers. These are the people who built America. This is the story of Doylestown. Those historians, professional historians, aren't going to tell a working class story of everyday Americans until the 60s or 70s. So as a historian, he's very progressive in that he's ahead of his time. So even though it's not specifically giving you dates when this was established or when a building or a house was built, he's still telling very much the story of what was going around in this area.